What's up, everyone, and welcome to the 15th episode of the Control Freak podcast. I am your host, Alex Blackard, or @LessAlex on Twitter. Make sure to follow me on there. This is the only Magic the Gathering podcast devoted to all things blue-white control, and I guess blue-white Stoneblade now in Modern. You can catch me on all of the podcast apps, YouTube, and I do stream as well. I will, of course, put all of those links in the description below. Today, I am joined by a fellow blue-white aficionado, Mr. Harry Khoo. Harry, how's it going?
Hey, yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm doing good, thanks.
Awesome. You are coming to us all the way across the pond.
Yeah, and very late across the pond for me. It's just about 10 past midnight, but it's all right. It's all right.
We're recording it at 6 p.m. on Sunday, and it's already Monday there. Yeah, awesome. I'm super hyped to have you on. Harry is a fellow content creator, a fellow blue-white mage. You can check him out on Twitter at HarryMTG. He streams on Twitch, also at HarryMTG, his YouTube channel, HarryMTG, and then he has a podcast also the Birthing Podcast, which I got to give you props for that name. I don't know who. I know you're like one of a couple people that are on that podcast.
Yeah.
I love the name.
Thanks.
Super clever name. So, as we always do when I have guests on the podcast, I like to kind of get your origin story, kind of how your spark ignited originally, and what made you fall in love with this great game that we all play. So, I guess we can get right into it if you're ready.
Yep.
Awesome. So, when did you first start playing? Like, what set?
So I started. My first pack was from Kaladesh,
Awesome.
But my actual first event was Amonkhet pre-release.
Okay, so you're pretty new to the game, huh?
Yeah. There's a long story, but basically I actually found it through playing chess. I played a lot of chess, and I found out that there was a local store in my town selling like nice made chessboards. Awesome. So I went there, and then my mom was talking to the cashier. And the cashier was like, "Oh, we do Magic upstairs and Yu-Gi-Oh!" And she thought Magic was like magic tricks, so she's like, "Oh, you should go because you can watch the show." And then I looked it up and I found it's this cool card game, and it had the online game Magic Duels at the time. So I thought I tried it, and I loved it. So I've just been rolling with it.
Awesome, that is awesome. So through chess, that's very cool. And your mom said you thought it was like pulling bunnies out of hats and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, so cool. So Kaladesh, what's your favorite card of all time? It can be one that you played whenever you first started, or it could be something you're playing now too.
So I think it'd be, it's a cop out to say something like Cryptic Commander Jace. So I'm not going to say anything from Blue White. So, I started playing around Kaladesh. My favorite type of deck in that stand at the time was Energy, so I'm going to go with Rogue Refiner, the controversial standard card at the time.
I feel like Standard, though, is a format that, and this is just the spike in me talking, and I know it is, but you should just probably play the best deck anyway. I played that deck. I played the Marvel deck, like, for sure. That card's sweet. So
yeah, it was too much fun.
and like a 3/2 that draws a card and creates other resources. The card's insane.
Yeah, it was too good.
Yeah. So kind of in that vein, what's your favorite deck of all time?
So my actual first ever Magic deck was Red-Green Pummeler, Electrostatic Pummeler.
Oh,
for those who don't know. Yeah, it's like the 3-mana 1/1, and you just pump it up to 20 power and then fling it at your opponent's face. Yeah, it was such a fun deck. Just my first deck was like a semi-combo deck. Just like so amazing, so fun. I actually have 5 foil ones.
Oh wow, 5
just
for the
to have it. Yeah.
Oh man, so you've come a long way from. What would that be like in Modern? I guess that would be kind of like almost like Storm.
Infect, right?
Infect, sure. Yeah, Infect. So what do you think made you switch over to blue white? How do you go?
So that's a long story. I don't know. I think one day, when I was good friends with this guy, Adam, and he introduced me to Gabriel Nassif's stream, and then from then I just watched, and he plays Blue-White all the time, or he did play Blue-White all the time, I should say.
Playing Soul Herder and...
Yeah. And then I just got hooked since then, just been playing it all the time.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge difference going from pummeler all the way over to blue white.
Yeah,
But
yeah, definitely.
so what is your most notable Magic the Gathering accomplishment so far?
So I actually only started playing competitively, like non-Magic Online, about 6 months ago. And in that 6 months, I've cashed two GPs. I've top aided the one MCQ I've played, and I've won two 1Ks in my local area.
Oh, awesome! So starting to lay the base for a pretty
Yeah, hopefully.
nice, yeah, pretty nice
Yeah.
career maybe. Awesome. And then what is your best Magic moment that you've had so far?
That's a good one. So on my first main event GP, it was GP London, and for those who don't know, it's actually a pre-release GP for War of the Spark, and obviously playing limited. And I had a really nice deck. It had like God Eternal Oketra.
Oh
It had
wow.
like some really nice planeswalkers and stuff. And I was 4-0, so I was 4-0, and I got paired against Samuk Nam. And at that time, I didn't really know who he was, but
Right,
like he
right.
had sponsored gear and stuff, and he was like the most serious Magic player I've ever played against at that point. So I was like really intimidated, and then I
Sure.
actually found out that he's a PT finalist after the match.
Oh
But
yeah.
what's my highlight was, as I said, I'd got Eternal Oketra in my deck, and because the set was new, I didn't have any tokens, so I was just using what is it, turned over Magic cards, right, as the four
Sure.
four
Yeah.
tokens.
Like you do.
And for
Yeah.
those who don't know, it's a 3/6 double strike. Whenever you cast a creature, make a 4/4 vigilance zombie or
Yeah.
something.
It's a zombie. Yeah.
Yeah, and basically like the board state, he had Vivian in play, and Vivian gives a creature reach. And basically every turn I was tapping his creature with reach to attack in with the 4/4s,
Mm.
and it gave him the illusion that the 4/4s had flying. And then it came to the point where he actually had lethal in the air with flying creatures, and I was
Oh
so confused
my.
because he wasn't attacking. I was like, why isn't he attacking? So I just kept like, just straight face, just keep attacking, like, hope he doesn't see it for some
Yeah.
reason. And then
Yeah.
he just scooped up the cards, and I was like, my heart was beating so fast.
Oh
I was
my
like, what
god.
the? He had like 20 power and play and flying, and it's like, but they're all like, 1/3s, 2/3s,
Sure.
and stuff. So it's like, logically for him, you don't attack those into 4/4 flying vigilances.
Yeah. Oh
So,
my
and then
gosh.
after the match, I was like, why didn't you kill me game one? And he was like, what do you mean I couldn't? And I was like, well, I had no flying blockers. And he was like, don't the 4/4s have flying? And I was like, no. And he was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. He
Vi-
actually picked up my deck and shuffled through it, and took the Oketra, and he just sighed. And I was like, I don't
well,
know.
I mean, that's one of those cases where you got to RFTC. You just got to
Yeah,
read
yeah,
the
yeah,
card.
exactly.
You got to read
Yeah.
the card. And that is, man, okay, wow. So beating a Pro Tour finalist in
Because
your
he didn't read a
first
card.
your first GP. That's what you said, right? Your very first
Yeah, yeah, my first GP, yeah.
wow. That is awesome. But yeah, I mean, that kind of so for our for the listeners and for the viewers, like read the cards. Even I mean that guy's like a what gold level pro. Like
Yeah,
it
GP
happens.
champion, Pro Tour finalist.
You've
He's
got
very
to
good.
read the cards. Yeah, obviously a very powerful planeswalker. So
Yeah,
wow, that is awesome. Okay, so that's your best, your favorite moment. So
yeah.
with the highest highs, also flip side of that coin come the lowest of lows. What's
Oh
like the
no. Yeah.
worst magic moment? Maybe bubbled MCQ or
Hmm.
something along those lines, or maybe you punted. What's your
Yeah.
lowest low?
So I have loads of punt stories, but the biggest lowest low was actually when I was playing. It was GP Birmingham, so it was the most recent GP, like maybe 3 weeks ago, and it was round four. I was 4-0 again,
Nice.
but I was playing against Jund. Game three, time is cold, and I have a monastery mentor in play. That's it, just a monastery mentor, like loads of lands. My opponent has two Bloodbraid Elves and a Liliana of the Veil,
Okay.
right? And I think like I'm on 6 life or something, and it's
Ooh.
like I have a cryptic command, so it's like I'm gonna tap draw, and I think what he does is he goes minus Liliana, target you, right?
Right.
And I don't want to sack the monastery mentor, of course. I'll just tap draw, get a token, sack the token. So time is called, and as time's called, my opponent's like, edict you, and then I'm like, okay, in response, I'll tap draw, and then there's a judge on behind my shoulder, behind me,
Yeah.
and the judge goes, is this turn one? And I turn to him and I go, yes, and I turn back, and my opponent goes, cryptic result, and I go, okay, cool, and I just draw the card, so I missed the Monastery Mentor trigger.
Oh no!
Now I had one land in hand, right? So it's like I lose the Mentor, and then I basically lose the game, because he'll just kill me with lethal next turn.
Yeah.
So I draw the card, and I draw Opt. Literally, I draw Opt. And it was like, I was like, Opt. And then I was like, trigger. But like, if I didn't top deck the Opt, I would have lost that match, because the judge said, is this turn one? And the worst thing about it
distracted you a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was the only mentor trigger I missed all weekend, so that was the feels bad. But the worst thing about it is the judge was wearing a red shirt, which means he was one of the head judges. Yeah. So I talked to a judge like after that, and I was like, should I have said anything? And they said maybe if I said like, oh, you've distracted me like straight away, they might have given me the trigger. So that's for anyone if you get distracted by a judge. But that was almost a big feels bad, man, because I would have lost the match.
Yeah, that's rough. That's really rough. For especially like you can. Your opponent doing that is one thing, but when, because people will do that. People will angle shoot you, ask you questions during your upkeep to make you miss your pack triggers or whatever. But for a judge to do it, oh my gosh, that is the fact that you didn't like tilt off.
Well, I drew the card. I was like, well, I could be mad, but I'm just gonna opt here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, it all worked out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Cool. So moving forward, you've got some of these pretty prestigious. You got some day twos under your belt. You've got some 1K victories under your belt. What are your goals moving forward?
My goal. So the goal I set in London was just I want to play on the Pro Tour Mythic Championship with Gabriel Nassif. I want to play with Gabriel Nassif playing in the tournament. Sure. That's my goal. So hopefully before he retires or before, I don't know.
I think you've
whatever
got some
happens. Yeah. Hopefully.
Magic is like one of those. It's so weird from like normal sports because we have like a Hall of Fame, right? But people that are still playing actively, they're still very much in their very much in their prime. Like LSV in the Hall of Fame, but also still just crushing GPs, doing very well at Pro Tours and stuff. So Magic is definitely one of those weird things where. Yeah, I think it's very possible, especially the trajectory you've been on recently.
Yeah. Well, I've just been drawing super well, right? Like that opt.
Right. It's just got a top deck well. Hey, better lucky than good. That's
exactly.
That's the mantra. Cool. Yeah, I actually, and I don't even think we've talked about this before the cast, but I saw your vlog about the GP. Super good stuff. And I'm not just saying this to hype you up, but like there needs to be more of that kind of content in Magic, like where you get to see the personalities of the players and not just like this is a deck list and this is a sideboard guide. Like your content is like the kind of content that like I hope to do at some point. So super dope stuff, man. Super dope.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks.
All right, so we just had an epic banned and restricted announcement. I missed the most recent week's episode. I didn't record a episode last week, and that was because I was at SCG Dallas. And then I have like a head cold ever since. So I apologize to the listeners. I did miss a week, but we did have BNR announcement, and for us for the Modern. We had Hogak, of course, he's gone. We had Faithless Looting banned, and we had Stoneforge Mystic, which is now unbanned and is huge. Yeah, you've been streaming it a bunch. You've been You've been all over Twitter about Stoneblade. But overall, let me not get ahead of myself. What are your thoughts overall on the BNR? I think I know what you're gonna say, but.
So I agree with Hogak. I was actually kind of surprised I was actually happy they got rid of Hogak because a lot of the time they don't want to admit that they made a mistake in their most recent set. So it gives me hope that the play design team are making decisions to benefit the game rather than the company.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely happy about that. Faithless Looting, though, I'm not sure.
Not a fan?
I th- no, I think the
Wow.
reason of the banning is they were worried maybe like some busted Vengevine deck would still be a thing or something,
Mm.
but I think the card it's like it was a format defining card. Like I know 25% of the decks or something was playing it,
Yeah.
but you need overpowered cards in the format to like have shape to the format.
Sure.
Is my opinion about that.
That's
I think maybe like if they're reprinting, like they're printing a Faithless Looting with no flashback, or like maybe
sure.
a Faithless
Careful
Looting that's
study.
one mana. Yeah,
Careful
yeah, or
study.
Careful
Yeah.
Study. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like with no flashback. Then I'm happy with the ban of Faithless Looting. I think that's fine. It also makes Dredge more fair. So if they're going to be playing that type of thing. But I mean, they've already found their new
Dredge is
card
playing Tome
anyways.
Scour now,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that won the classic, the Dallas Classic was Dredge,
Oh
and
wow.
he was playing. The winner was I sorry, I don't remember the guy's name who won, but he was playing 4 Tome Scours, which is just like
Oh my
sure,
gosh.
this is what we're resorting to, but it did work for him apparently.
Yeah, it does
So
work. Yeah. But with the Stoneforge unban,
yeah,
good with me. I wasn't expecting it at all. I
no,
was told multiple times like, oh, they've said they're never unbanning it, so I never expected it. I'm lucky that I had 4 in my Magic Online account still there for
oh
some
nice.
reason.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I thought they were gonna ban Hogak, and that
Hmm.
was it.
Okay.
Um, I thought that Stoneforge was plausible on the next BNR, but they just
Hmm.
decided to blow up the entire format apparently.
Yeah,
So
it's cool.
I'm about it. Yeah, anytime shakeups like this happen, I'm for it. I mean, I know it sucks for the
Hmm.
people that were playing Hogak, but come on, the same people that were saying no, Hogak's fine. It's like, all right, can I check out your deck real quick? Oh, you're playing 4 Hogaks. Okay, that's why you say it's fine. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, the deck's insane.
but yeah, Stoneforge Mystic in Modern for the first time ever too. So definitely, and I mean every deck is play. It's like every white deck, every fair white deck now is just jamming for Stoneforges and a Batter Skull,
Yep.
and like pick your poison with whatever sword you want. Feast and Famine
Yeah.
probably being the best, but Fire and Ice also
Hmm.
great.
Hmm.
Um, so what are your thoughts on Control versus Stoneblade? I know you've been playing Stoneblade a lot,
Oof.
streaming
This is a
Stoneblade.
big question. The
It
thing
is.
is, the actual answer is I think there is no wrong decision. I think that Stoneblade weaknesses are like control, like they balance out. The
Strengths.
weaknesses and
Yeah.
strengths balance out. But it's like it's what matchups do you want to lose to and what matchups don't you want to lose to? So for example, like Stoneblade, I found that it has a horrendously bad Urza matchup, Urza
Okay.
Thopter Sword.
Sure.
But Blue Eye Control is like it has a really nice Blue Eye Thopter Sword matchup, like the way the games play out and stuff. Like you have Narset to stop all their draw
Yeah.
effects, whereas Stoneblade doesn't really have access to that type of effect. I think if you want to beat like Thopter Sword with Stoneblade, you need the Sword of Fire and Ice because it gives protection from blue. And a lot of people don't know this, but the Thopter Foundry makes blue Thopters, so you can actually
Yeah.
swing through like their 50,000 Thopters or whatever. I'm sure if they have
Right.
50,000 Thopters, you're gonna die. But
Yeah.
yeah, and
Maybe. I
it's
mean,
like
if I guess if they're at like 3
yeah, I guess so.
or
Yeah,
5, because you get to
yeah.
shock them when you connect. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but it's like Tron as well. You lose value in the Tron matchup with Stoneblade. Blue Light Control obviously very good against Tron. There's loads of different matchups. As like it's like Dredge gets better with Stoneblade. I think personally because you got Batter Skull. Like it's really what do you want to
Yeah.
lose to? What don't you want to lose to?
Blue White Control really struggles with Dredge. And if it's going to
Hmm.
be a player, I've seen deck lists like 4-0 deck lists, people not even playing uh Rest in Peace in the sideboard. It's like, what? You're
Risky.
crazy. Yeah, not a chance. I'm still packing 2. Luckily, we
Yeah.
don't have to do 4. That was nonsense. And
Oh yeah.
I was
Yeah.
never a fan of the main deck surgicals because it was
Oh
horrendous.
wow.
And so
Okay.
I played one, but
Hmm.
I was never a fan of like 2. I played one
Yeah.
because
Oh,
you
right.
almost had to, right? There's concessions
Yeah.
had to be
Yeah.
made. But yeah, Blue White Control versus Stoneblade. I think in a world of where everyone's playing Stoneblade decks, pick your colors, whatever, black, white, green, white, whatever, Abzan, Jeskai. I think Control is just like go above them, right? Like, is that crazy of me to think that? But
I don't know. The thing is with Stoneblade is you get so much extra in the mid range matchups. Like, I think if you want to, like, I found Blue Eye Control to be horrible against Jund, Abzan, and all that. Where Stoneblade, you have a bit more like power. Like the equipments really do add value, and it's like if they have to Assassin's Trophy, like one of them, it feels good. And like Batterskull can never be removed because you can just bounce it.
yeah,
Uh,
they have to
I
have it
think
that turn basically. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
exactly. It's like when you Violet in. The only thing awkward about Stoneblade is like when you like have to tap out on turn two against like Tron, like all these decks that you want to hold up counters against. Like you put down the shield, like you want Force of Negation, but maybe their threat is not, a non-creature, or maybe you don't have a good like a bad blue spell to pitch and stuff like that. So it's like there are a lot of awkward situations that you have to work yourself through with Stoneblade, as well as the case like they just kill the dude, and then maybe your hand like doesn't play out as it's meant to be. So like against Dredge, right? Like the 4/4 lifelink is really good, but if they have like the lava axe or just
Yeah,
configurate it, maybe your draw is now too slow compared to what it would be if you had, the massive body. So that's the one thing I don't like about the deck. Whereas Control, you're playing all these, valued planeswalkers and like Wraths, and you can afford to hold up counters turn two like almost every game.
yeah,
So that's the one thing that I miss about Control is that there's a lot of like turn two cards that you want to counter, like Ren and like Foundry, maybe even like a Karn, right? If you're on the draw.
yeah,
So that's the one weakness I've found with the deck a lot, and that's why I like for Force of Negation, or even just not playing on turn two. I find myself a lot of the times just leaving it in my hand and trying to hold up
yeah.
interaction.
I think it's probably correct a lot of the time actually to not play it on turn two, just because
Hmm.
you can bluff a counterspell, or obviously if you actually have a counterspell, probably just
Yeah,
not correct to play Stoneforge Mystic on turn two. Also,
yeah.
Spell Snare is at an all-time high in how many I want to pack in my Blue Eye Control
Yeah.
deck. I'm playing a list right now that's playing 3,
Oh
so which
my.
is like the most I've ever played. I think the most previously was 2,
Hmm.
and I didn't do that. I didn't keep that for very long, but yeah,
Yeah.
3. I mean, it hits so like you said, Jund is a pretty poor matchup nowadays for Control, and
Hmm.
a lot of their 2 drops are just haymakers against Blue White Control. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's great in that matchup. Obviously, it hits Stoneforge Mystic, it
Oh
hits
yeah.
Assassin's Trophy. Like it's just a
Yeah.
slew of really powerful cards. And then of course you can pitch it to Force of Negation if it's just not good in the matchup. So
Yeah, that's what I found really good, powerful about Force right now is that in Stoneblade or even just Control, you can play like even more crazy one-ofs now, and you
yeah,
just pitch them to Force if you don't need them. It's like one thing I guess like it took me a long time to realize. I only realized it maybe like 2 weeks ago that you can play these crazy like random cards in the
yeah,
deck just to throw them away.
absolutely, yeah. Um, cool. So what are you sideboarding right now? Like if you were to take a 75 to a tournament this weekend,
Hmm.
what would your 15 card sideboard looking like in Stoneblade?
In Stoneblade, okay. Well, I think the most important thing is to have 2 Celestial Purge and 2 Stony Silence. Like those, I will never
Yeah,
go less than
no,
those four.
never.
Very important. I see a lot of lists get sent to me or see online. They have less purges or less stonies. I think you need them
Yep.
because like they're both good against like Urza because you need the purge for like the Tezzeret and the Goblin Engineer and stuff.
Yeah.
And the having 2 Stony gives you good equity in like the Urza matchup, Tron matchup. I feel like you just can't leave the house without them. Other stuff you still need timely reinforcements in the sideboard of Stoneblade. A lot of people think you don't need it, against burn and stuff, but you really do. I
No,
know that you have a
absolutely. Yeah.
4/4 lifelink in your deck, but don't forget the deck you're playing against has like 12 ways to kill it on
Yeah.
turn one and two. So it's like yes, you can get that 4/4 lifelink into your hand, but getting
Right.
onto the battlefield is the hard part. So
Absolutely. Because
I always,
you may just be dead by turn 5
yeah,
if they
exactly,
kill the
exactly.
the
the Stoneblade.
The Stoneblade.
Sorry,
Yeah.
the Stoneforge Mystic.
Stoneforge
Yeah.
Mystic. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm always packing 2 timelies, and then I like to have at least like 1 or 2 Jund, like targeted Jund cards. So I'd pack like 2 Gideon Ally of Zendikar, or like 1 Elspeth or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Just make sure that you always have like a bomb planeswalker to play. It's not even against like Jund; it's also against Stoneblade itself, or
Yeah.
even just like one of these crazy mid-range decks, just jamming Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah. It turns out those knights and those soldiers that both Gideon and Elspeth create respectively are pretty good sword bearers. So
Yeah. I also love like an equipment in the sideboard, so I would personally run Batterskull as I'm really high on the card in a lot of top matchups. Like the mid range again Dredge, also Burn. It's relevant if they have like Smash to Smithereens. So I really love having Batterskull. I see a lot of people running Sword of Snew and Steel. It's the black red one, destroy a planeswalker and artifact when it connects. I think that's really good. I just think that
wow. I know a lot of
just
people are like super divided on whether that is actually worth it. And you like it.
I've played with it quite a lot and I like it, but the funny thing is I found it to not be good in matchups that you'd think it'd be good in. Like I wasn't really impressed with it in Jund because they have these massive Tarmogoyfs and stuff, so you
Sure.
need to like put it on a Batterskull and hope that it can get
Yeah.
through still because a lot of their creatures are just big green creatures.
Yeah, they don't
So
have many they don't have any red creatures really, except I mean, I guess
yeah,
Bloodbraid
Bloodbraid
Elf
Elf,
and
yeah.
maybe the occasional Huntmaster of the Fells, but yeah.
hmm Yeah,
So,
sort of Feast and Femme is definitely an all-star
oh
in
for
that
sure.
matchup. Yeah. There's loads of different ones. There's also the white black one, light and
Light and
shadow, I
Shadow.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's pretty good because like against discard spells and stuff, you can just get back the creatures that they discard because a lot of mid-range decks will be discarding your Snapcaster mages and stuff, so you will be able to get them back. I've seen that's pretty good. I haven't tested it myself, but I've heard good stuff about it, so that's another thing to think about. But yeah, those are like the 3 big ones I'd probably consider playing in my sideboard. Oh, also
Oh,
sort of Fire and Ice
I was
too,
going
I
to say
guess.
over fire like
Yeah,
Fire and Ice.
yeah.
I think like Feast and Famine's one and then Fire and Ice and then those are like the 2 top tier and then it kind of drops off from there.
Yeah,
Sinew and
yeah.
Steel, I haven't played Stoneblade yet since
hmm
it's been unbanned. Probably should do that because I might actually end up liking it more than Control, but
hmm
but I know checking Twitter and stuff, checking other like Francesco Amati and like folks like that on Twitter, they're very divided on whether Sinew and Steel is actually good. So
Oh wow,
you
yeah.
are you are in the
I think it's
camp of it
decent.
is good. So
I think it's decent. Yeah. Would I bet money on it top aiding a GP? Probably not. But I think it's decent. I think it's decent.
awesome.
Another good sideboard card is Ashiok Dream Render from
Oh
War of
yeah.
the Spark. I think it's good. I don't think it's particularly good against Dredge, but if you want to have like a Dredge hate card and a
Yeah.
Valakut
Right.
Primeval Titan type hate card, that's definitely your best option.
Oh yeah.
And I've also found it like has some value against Tron, which is kind of funny. Because
Yeah.
like when you get these long grindy games, you could actually just mill them out with the Ashiok, like bouncing it to your hand with Cryptic,
Oh
just
my
like
gosh.
mill you.
That's excellent.
Yeah. I also definitely like you need extra counters in the sideboard with Stoneblade. Like you can't just rely on your forces and mana leaks and stuff in your main. So I definitely put like 1 Ceremonious Rejection and 1 Disdainful Stroke or something like that, just so that
Yeah.
you don't so you always have that turn 2 counter against Tron.
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially if they're on the play, you need it to counter that
Yeah.
turn 3 Karn or whatever, or
hmm
geez, even Wormcoil. It's pretty scary
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
if you don't have the path.
hmm Yeah.
Um,
I also really like 2 Surgical. I haven't taken 2 Surgical out
oh
of the deck
wow.
yet. Yeah, I really like it. It's like against Valakut,
It
against Urza, against Tron.
I'm definitely way more comfortable playing it in my sideboard. I just didn't like playing it in the main. It's just like it doesn't affect the board, and it's just
Uh-huh.
atrocious in some matchups. Like it's very good in the matchups it's good in. We know
Yeah.
that is a known quantity. But like, oh, it felt so bad. To like, I'm like sitting here writing my deck list out for the IQ or whatever, and I'm just
Uh-huh.
like, I guess I'll put one of these surgicals main.
I've got loads of stories of just
Yeah.
like surgicaling something random in like Jund, like
Yeah.
surgical your
Yeah.
Lily Veil. It's like, oh, I've got two in hand. I actually have a funny story. My friend
Yeah,
Josh,
shoot.
my friend Josh at GP Birmingham, he like mulled to 5 in the blind, right? And this was when Hogak was around, and he
Was it
kept a surgical in his hand.
was he playing blue white or
Oh yeah, sorry, playing
okay,
blue white. Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. So he's on blue white. He mulls to 5, and then like he has a surgical in his hand, and he's not sure if he should keep it or not. She's like, he's just like, F it. They're probably on Hogak. I'll keep it. He keeps it, and his opponent goes turn 1. What is it? Windswept Teeth, and then passes, and then like he fetches or whatever, and then Josh just like plays land go. His opponent untaps, draws. In his draw step, he surgicals Windswept Teeth, and his opponent had 2 in his hand.
Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was so funny. Like hearing the story is just so funny to hear. But he still lost that game somehow. I don't know.
Well, he did
Yeah,
mulligan. That
yeah, he milled to
no
5. But so did
excuses,
his
but
opponent, right? I guess not.
right. Oh man.
Yeah,
That is that is funny. That is really
yeah.
good.
There's
Oh
loads
man.
of different sideboard options right now. Like I see a lot of people running Geist and
Yeah,
Clique and
that's
all
actually
that
one
kitchen
thing I was
things.
gonna. What is your, not to
I've
interrupt
been
you, but like,
Geist.
what is your preferred 3-drop? Because I know that's another
Okay.
thing that's like hotly contested. Is like some people just absolutely will not sleeve up Geist of Saint Traff. Like
I
I
might be
love
one of
that.
those people.
So that card is actually my favorite card of all time. So anytime I can play
Uh-oh.
that card, what do you
Uh-oh.
think? What do you think?
I played a lot with Geist, Kitchen Fink, Clique. I think Clique personally is the best. Not like it's just so good. Like the information of seeing your
Oh
opponent's
yeah,
hand and like the body. There's no lava darts in in the meta anymore, so it's like a lot more powerful. So I felt like it's held equipments better more often. Like I know you get those situations where like you can equip Batterskull to Geist, which is really good, but to be in the position to equip Batterskull
yeah,
to
you're already
Geist,
winning.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that too. But like I found Geist itself, like when you don't draw what it's good with Geist, I found to be so fragile. Like
Oh yeah.
it's like you can't really attack with it because like maybe a Tomoglyph can block it, or like a Batter Skull can block it. I just feel like it's so easily blocked, and it's a lot harder to put it in the position where like it can attack
It's good. Yeah.
profitably,
Yeah.
which is why I'm not a fan of it. But I guess that's why it should be in the sideboard, right? You want to bring in
Yeah.
matches where the board's clearer and stuff like that. It's just I found Clique to be more impactful with the mana that you're spending on it, and also like you can cast it in their turn. You can see if they want to do anything on your end step before you cast it. Whereas Geist you have to do it in your main phase, which hasn't been the best for me, but. Maybe it's good. Like maybe there's some deck with loads of equipments and you
I
can stack it up on the Geist.
I think it's good in the right matchups. Like I don't think you necessarily want it against Jund. I think it's more against like Tron
Hmm.
and other like unfair decks that don't really have board states.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
like the big mana decks, like if they play
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But still having, I mean, your point of Click having evasion is, definitely a very well informed take. I think.
Yeah,
I love Geist of Saint Traff. That will always
yeah,
be
yeah,
my favorite card, but it's just
yeah,
I want it to be good again.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Kitchen Finks is undervalued as a 3-drop. I was playing a lot of it. I played like maybe like 6 leagues with 2 Kitchen Finks
Oh
in the
wow.
main. Yeah,
Oh, in the
I was
main. Holy smokes. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I was really high on it because, like, the thing is, when you have like loads of people at the time, it was like Stoneforge was just unbanned, so everyone was jamming Stoneforge in literally
Yeah.
every deck. So I was running into a lot of Liliana of the Veil, and it's like a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's Kitchen Finks for burn." Well, it's kind of for burn, but it's so good against Liliana of the
Yeah.
Veil that I was just jamming too, and I was loving it because it's like in matchups maybe where they don't have Lily Veil, you can just equip it, and if they kill the dude, then you just get it's a 2-for-1, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, and if against Lily Veil, it's really awkward for them. They can't really edict you. They have to use 2
Interesting.
removal spells, so that's why I was really high on the card. There's probably like maybe you could fit 1 in the sideboard to like hedge against that if you want that to be your Jund card and like hit burn at the same time. It's something to think about.
No, yeah, that's actually something I know that's kind of been like a card in Blue White's arsenal, but
Hmm.
to me, man, that's just like a green card. Like it's It's just like in all of those like Value Town decks.
Yeah.
Oh man, I hate those decks. Anyway, cool. So, and then what about for Control? Pretty much the
Oh yeah.
same vein of cards, or
Um, I think that with Control, you have more slots for creature-based matchups because in the Stoneblade deck, right, you're already a plus against creature-based decks, right?
yeah,
So in Control though, you need like one extra Wrath in the sideboard or something else to kind of keep up with maybe humans and stuff like that because you can't get like a 4/4 lifelink into play on turn
Yeah.
2. But I think it's relatively similar because like at the end of the day, the game plan of both decks are typically the same. It's just one wants to cheat in a big creature. So like in your sideboard, you're still looking for extra counter spells. You're still looking for like value cards against Jund. So you still want like a Gideon or something. Maybe you want to put in like maybe a disenchant though, just to like make sure you're not losing to Batterskull and stuff like that.
I've liked Disenchant. So Solitary Pro member Tony Johnson actually played 2 red sources and played two Abrades in the sideboard.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I don't know. I like a much cleaner. I would much rather play a cleaner mana base and a worse, quote unquote, worse card in my sideboard. But
Yeah,
he's a big fan of Abrade though. He's like, so I don't know.
I guess that makes sense. Maybe you could like also put Sinkhole in the deck, Magnetic Sinkhole and stuff. Play all these crazy red cards that we can't really play. I've been talking with one of my good friends, Rasmus, who's teaming with me for GP Ghent, and we had this long discussion about how maybe we should just play like one Steam Vents and play Magnetic Sinkhole, because at the time it's like such a powerful effect, just to like kill a planeswalker or kill a creature that's annoying you. So I mean, like I actually am a fan of splashing for cards in the blue-white deck. Some fans of the stream will know I've made these stupid decks with 4 Astrolabes in it for no reason, and I'm like playing Plague Engineers in the sideboard and Kaya's Guile in the main because it's just so much fun. And then you realize like you have no ops for your Snapcaster mages, so then it's like a really bad deck. But still, it was
fun.
It was an experience to splash.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think too that there's room for, we're talking about blue-white. It's got to be blue-white Control or Stoneblade. But honestly, I think there's room for both to exist, right? Like in Legacy, definitely. We have Miracles and we have Stoneblade.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, Stoneblade in Legacy is a little bit better than Miracles, but there's just so many ways right now. Like I am so excited for Modern because it's like a brand new standard where
exactly.
The format's just wide open. Everybody's just kind of doing whatever they want. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see where it all lands too. If Stoneblade ends up being the better of the two, or maybe Jeskai, or maybe even Esper. Who knows? It's gonna be exciting to see where the dust settles for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I'm spoiler. I'm running Stoneblade at the GP this weekend at GP Ghent.
Not playing Dredge? Oh, okay.
No, I'm not. I only play blue-white all the time. Yeah. Maybe if there's like another Hogak meta where it's like there's a clear best deck, maybe I'll consider. Right. But it's hard to betray.
You were playing blue-white in Hogak though, if I do remember correctly.
Yeah.
Fighting the good fight.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely... Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
I definitely think that there are like a combination of the two. Like I was... someone submitted a list for me today with... It had Narset in the Stoneforge deck, where it's like, you're not looking to play Stoneforge on turn 2. So maybe like there's a hidden control deck out there with maybe 3 Stoneforge Mystics that's looking to play like Stoneforge more like on turn 5 or something as like your values, spell, and then hold up a counter and stuff like that. So I think there are loads more options than just 2 decks. There's probably, decks that combine the two.
Oh, so absolutely.
You have loads of options right now, and we're just kind of waiting for these deck list dumps, all these GPs to come out and see which list is the most spicy, I guess, or the best.
Yeah, the GP Indy today, actually, it was a team event, so take it for what it is. But Jeskai Stoneblade, I think, was one of the winning decks. So there we go. I didn't get a
That's
good
sweet.
look. I didn't get a good look at whether it was like actually Jeskai or we were just splashing for a couple of, maybe lightning bolts and braids maybe in the sideboard or something like that. But
Yeah.
it's exciting. Like the fact that blue white it's a tier 1 deck, whichever way you cut it. If you want to play Stoneblade or you want to play Control, I think both are viable options at this point. So it's definitely got me and others definitely excited.
Yeah.
It's cool. So what do you think overall is
Hmm.
how the metagame is looking currently? And again, uh, you know, it's all over the place. No one really knows exactly what's the best. I tend to think that the Urza decks, the Wurza decks are probably just the best deck,
Hmm.
but it's very premature to just stamp, seal, deliver. This is the best deck.
Yeah, yeah.
We're too. This format is too new to say any one deck. But for blue white, how do you feel about this current metagame?
I think it's amazing. I mean, blue white's always the best deck, no matter what.
Oh my
No,
god.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. I think it's very well positioned. I mean, I think it's got game against like lots of the top decks. Obviously, like Urza, yeah, that's really dependent on your build. But
Yeah.
I love to play against Tron, Dredge. Jund is fine. Just the Stoneblade mirrors are a lot of fun too. I mean, Burn is also like it's close, but I think Burn is like slightly edging towards I'm sorry. I think it's Burn slightly edging towards favored for us. So like I'm really confident going into like my next tournament with Blue White. I think that like it's probably like top two. I think Urza's probably the best.
Yeah.
I think personally that the best deck actually hasn't been found. I think the best deck is probably something that's gonna have like 4 Kolaghan's Command in it or something. I think like that card seems so insane right now, especially with like Urza and Stoneforge Mystic at the top. So
Oh
I
yeah.
think Blue White's gonna be like I think it's gonna stagger. I think it's gonna be the best, and then like, people are gonna adjust. Like Kolaghan's Command is so powerful against Stoneblade, and like I think it's gonna stagger a lot over the next few weeks,
Yeah.
definitely on how people build their decks.
Yeah. It's gonna flip flop a bunch, I think, and that's the beauty of modern right now. Like it was such a bummer, dude. Like Hogak Summer sucked.
Yeah, it
it's
definitely did.
It was so bad, dude. And like, so we had Hogak Summer. Are we gonna have Colgan's Command fall? Like, is that just gonna be just the one card to play in all of the decks?
Yeah,
Uh, it
I
definitely
know.
seems very good.
Yeah, definitely. I've been ruined by it so many times. Just like blow up your batter skull, you discard a card. It's like my only
Oh
card in
my
hand's Jace or
god.
something. It's just like,
Ugh.
ugh.
Blowout.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
man, that's rough. And that's like kind of why, among other reasons, is why I want to stay focused on Control and trying to figure out like the best 75 with Control versus
yeah,
Stoneblade, because Stoneblade's kind of, it's got a target on its head now,
yeah. Exactly. Yeah,
so I kind of like flying under the radar and
yeah.
just kind of playing like maybe the next best deck. So
Yeah, I think control is definitely. I think something to think about with control is putting Monastery Mentor in the main now. I think it's actually quite powerful. Uh, I think that's something for people to work out. But I was speaking with Arnie Hutchinbeth. He's a very good blue-eyed mage and streamer, and he was saying
yeah.
that Monastery Mentor in the main's where you should go if you're playing blue-eyed control. So
Hmm.
I think that's definitely something people should consider.
Yeah, I mean, people aren't going to expect that for sure. I was actually watching his stream today, so
Oh, nice. Yeah.
yeah, cool, cool. So yeah, is there anything else you want to just talk about Control or Modern or anything else? We're kind of getting towards the end here, so
Um. Let me think for 2 seconds. Let me try and think of something if I can.
sure, sure, sure.
Not much is coming to mind. I mean,
Okay,
I
yeah, right
if you
on.
want to wrap up, I'm good.
No worries, no worries. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So if you want to kind of shout out your Twitter and all your housekeeping stuff, and then I'll take it from there.
Okay,
Where
cool.
everybody can find you.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me. If you're interested in checking out either my stream, I stream like 7 days a week. Most weeks I'm crazy. I'm always playing some cool modern deck. Like I love drawing cards, so if you like drawing cards, definitely check it out. And if
Definitely.
you don't match up with my UK times, I have a YouTube channel as well. Both of those are under the name Harry MTG. I mean, if you want to find me anywhere, it's Harry MTG. Like Twitter, Harry MTG. And if you'd like to check out my podcast, the Birthing Podcast. Definitely go check it out. I guess I do it with my two best friends from Magic, and they love to bully me there. So if you want to see, listen to that, go check it out.
Awesome. Yeah. So thank you again, Harry Khoo, or at Harry MTG on all of the things, all of the socials.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the 15th episode. I can't believe it's been 15 episodes, but of the Control Freak podcast. As always, I am sponsored by Team Solitary Pro. They sponsor the podcast and me as a player. Big shout out to them. And you can catch the podcast on all of the podcast apps, including Podbean and, of course, on YouTube. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. If you dig it, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. And go on over to Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star review and a couple of kind words. It really does go an extremely long way with how they rank their podcasts over there. So any kind words, definitely appreciate it. But yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out. Until next time, be kind to one another, Magic players. Have a good night.